All right, so good morning, everybody. As discussed, we are down to the next destination that we will be discussing for the different tourist attractions and destinations around the world. So last time we've discussed the different tourist destinations, facts and figures, history, government, and other interesting informations about South Asia. Now, the next countries or continent that we are going to explore is none other than Oceania. Okay, so Oceania, or in another word, is the Australian continent. Okay, so at the end of this discussion, you will be able to learn the different informations, facts and figures, histories, the 5 A's of tourism under the Oceania continent. Okay, so let's begin our discussion. So there are four divisions of Oceania class. So it is divided to four subcategory. So ano-ano ba yung subcategory na yon? So the first one, we have the Australia, or the country itself. So wag kayong malilito doon sa name ha. Yung continent is Oceania, but the other term is Australia. And there's a different country which is name is Australia as well. Okay, so yun yung unang division ng continent of Oceania. And the second one is the Micronesia. The third one, we have Melanesia. And the fourth one is the Polynesia. Okay, so ano-ano ba yung mga bansa na belong dito sa bawat divisions of Oceania? So, first is the Australia. Okay, so the country itself of Australia. So, all you need to remember is ganito yung look ng kanyang flag. Okay, so this is the flag of Australia. Next is under Polynesia. Sorry. Melanesia. So under Melanesia, these are the countries. We have Fiji. We also have Papua New Guinea. Okay, it is being read as Guinea. Okay, not Guinea. So next is the Solomon Islands and the Vanuatu. So these are the countries that are belong to Melanesia. Next is we have the Micronesia. So these are the countries belong to Micronesia. We have the Federated States of Micronesia, Kiribati, the Marshall Islands, Nauru, and Palau. So baka most of you are only familiar with Palau. So Palau, please remember, it is one of the destination or country wherein ginanap yung Survivor. So or siguro you were in your younger years during that time, yung kay Paulo Vediones, siya yung host doon. So sa Palau ginanap yung Survivor. Okay, that's a reality show wherein there are different challenges given to the participants of the game, and only one participant will win the game at the end of the um, reality show. Okay, so these are the respective flags of the different countries. Okay, and last but not the least, we have the Polynesia. Okay, so these are the countries that are belong to Polynesia. We have New Zealand, Samoa, Tonga, and Tuvalu. And these are their respective flags. Okay, so you do not need to memorize all of the details of their flags, only their category kung saan sila belong. Okay, do you guys follow? Are you following? Can I have a reaction, please? Okay. Very good. Moving forward, so we have a challenge. So we will start our travel from the different destinations in Oceania. But mind you, class, we will only be discussing two countries under Oceania. So these two countries are the top tourist destinations in this continents. But this is the challenge. You have to find and look for the kangaroo. on the entire discussion. And the student or the individual who will get the correct number of kangaroo in the entire discussion will get an award or a gift, okay, after our discussion. So, anong itsura ng kangaroo na hahanapin nyo in the discussion? So, we have this look, okay? Etong look lang na to ang bibilangin. Okay? The rest, hindi siya belong to the counting. Do you guys all follow? Okay, good. So, let's begin. Yes, Bernadette, do you have a question? Not yet. Not yet. Okay, good question. Very good question. So this is not included in the counting. So this is just a representation of what uh, the look of kangaroo that you will be looking. So let's start the travel. So facts about Oceania. Okay? So what are some of the facts that you need to understand or know about the Oceanian continent? So these are those. Medyo mabagal ang class yung lipat ng screen ha sa sobrang daming graphics. So first one is Oceania is a home to a rich diversity of cultures and languages. So bakit ba kilala ang Oceania sa different culture and languages? Why? Because Oceania is a melting pot of different nationalities. Yung mga nakatira or yung mga population or yung mga tao na naninirahan sa Oceania ay nanggaling sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo. That's why since nagmingle or nagsama-sama sila dun sa continent, nagkaroon ng different cultures and languages. Okay? Next is the region is known for its unique wildlife. So kilala ang Oceanian continent class sa different kind of species as you can see dito sa photos. Kilala sila sa kangaroo, they also have koalas, and ito yung itsura ng kiwi bird. As you can see, yung merong red dot na umiikot class so that you can follow. Okay, so this is kangaroo, koala, and kiwi bird. So, kilala ang Oceanian continent na inhabitant ng mga ganitong species. And also, many islands in Oceania, such as those, is or are under the ring of fire. So, anyone who is familiar when we say ring of fire? Olis. Very good explanation and citing of example. So, correct class. When we say, thank you, Ole. So, when we say ring of fire, these are the continent or the countries na napapaligiran ng active volcano. When we say active, there are two types of volcano kasi class. The active and the dormant. Okay? Pag sinabi nating active volcano, anytime pwede siyang pumutok or sumabog. Pag dormant, edi wala. Okay? Obsolete, extinct. Hindi na siya pwedeng sumabog or pumutok. Okay? So, next, the region has a significant indigenous population. Pag sinabi nating indigenous population is yung mga taong naninirahan doon na mayroong iba't ibang ethnicity. Katulad nga ng sinabi ko dito sa number 1 class, Oceanian continent is a home of diverse cultures and languages. Kasi nga, this is the continent na melting pot ng iba't ibang tao. That's why indigenous din yung population or iba-iba. Kasi nga galing sila sa iba't ibang parte ng mundo. Okay? So these are some of the facts that you need to know about Oceania. Now, are you guys ready to travel, or we will start the travel from the different countries of Oceania that focuses on tourist attractions and destinations. So, let's begin. Our first destination is, anyone who can guess based on the picture? What country do you think so? Yes, siya. Very good. So correct. So our first destination is Australia, class. So what's the capital of Australia? It is Canberra. Okay? So most of the people or most of us na pagkakamalian natin na ang capital ng Australia ay Sydney. Okay? O kaya Melbourne. But why do you think so na ang capital ng Australia ay Canberra? Anyone who can guess? Nan, okay. So, Canberra class, kaya ang capital ng Australia and Canberra is para lang um, pinili sila kasi nga may hidwaan yung Sydney at saka Melbourne. So, para lang ma-compromise or walang piliin sa kanilang dalawa, the government choose Canberra. O si Canberra na lang ang gawin nating capital kasi may hidwaan si Sydney and si Melbourne, hindi sila magkasundo eh. And to be fair, to both of them, then wala tayong pipiliin sa kanila. Let's just choose Canberra as the capital. And nakapag-decide yung government na piliin ang Canberra and magplano ng bagong city dito sa Canberra instead na Melbourne and Sydney. And mind you class, Canberra is known as Australia's capital city and tinatawag din siyang bush capital. So bakit siya tinatawag na bush capital? Marami kasi ditong nature reserves. Katulad ng nakikita nyo dito sa picture sa Canberra, there are a lot of ito yung mga puno na parang pine trees. Okay, so there are a lot of bushes in Canberra. That's why it is being called as bush capital of Australia. Okay? So, moving forward is ano ba yung tourism tagline ng Australia? So, their tourism tagline is come and say good day. Okay? That's how you pronounce that. Come and say good day. Okay? So, bakit G-day? Bakit hindi buong good day? Okay? So, yung G-day kasi, it is a short term for good day, pero nakaslang. Okay? So, you have to pronounce it in a slang, um, what do you call this? Slang tone or slang intonation. So, come and say good day. Okay? So, hindi good day. So, ito yung tourism tagline ng Australia that they are inviting international travelers to visit their country and experience their welcoming culture and history. Okay? Moving forward. So, I hope malinaw ang mata. Nazo-zoom ang screen nyo, class, ha? Next. Their history. So, ano ba yung history ng Australia? So, Australia, nung 1850s, maraming gold reserve yung na-discover dito sa Australia or sa country ng Australia. And simula noon, nung na-discover na merong reserve of gold or mina ng maraming ginto sa Australia, doon na nagkaroon ng gold rush. Okay, ma'am, ano po yung gold rush? Dahil nalaman ng mga tao sa iba't ibang panig ng mundo na ang daming gold sa Australia, they traveled and visit Australia para manirahan. Okay? So, dumating at dumagsa yung maraming tao sa Australia. Okay? Next, nung 1901, naging nation or naging isang bansa ang Australia and na-form yung Commonwealth of Australia. Okay? So, ito yung emblem. Pag sinabi nating emblem, parang yung ano nila, logo. Okay? So, this is the emblem of Australia. So, why kangaroo is the tawag dito, part of the challenge? Bakit kangaroo ang pinapahanap ko sa inyo, class? Why do you think so? Anong connection ng kangaroo in Australia? Anyone? Casimero. Correct. Good connection. So, perfect answer. So, correct. As mentioned by Bernadette class, aside from kangaroo is the national emblem or animal of Australia. It represents Australia. Tama yung sinabi ni Bernadette. Kangaroo is living to places wherein yung mayabong yung mga damo at puno. And that's why since Australia is full of bush, kaya maraming kangaroo doon. Okay? So that's the reason behind that. And lastly, class, um, as mentioned, melting pot siya or melting point siya ng different ethnicities around the world. So, pinaniniwalaan na yung mga naninirahan ng matagal na panahon sa Australia ay galing sa Asia. And tumagal sila nandito na sila sa Australia for 45,000 years ago. So imagine the long period of years that they are staying in the country. Okay, so sila yung unang inhabitants ng Australia. Next, government of Australia. So, they are under constitutional monarchy and parliamentary democracy. Ang tatandaan nyo lang is democratic country sila. Their people have the authority to vote or the right of suffrage. And their current prime minister or pinamumunuan sila ng prime minister. Ang katumbas nito sa atin ay ating president. So, as of now, their prime minister is Honorable Anthony Albanese. So, ito yung picture ni Albanese. Okay? Next, people in Australia. So, as mentioned, it is home to around 26 million people with diverse nationalities. You can see African American, you can see European, you can see Romanian, you can see Asian. So, walang distinct ethnicity yung matatagpuan dun sa Australia because it is a mix of different races. Next is, most of the people ay nakatira sa urban area. Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. Ma'am, bakit wala po yung Canberra? Eh, di ba po yun po yung capital city? So, as mentioned, si Canberra, kaya siya naging capital kasi nga, para lang hindi ma-compromise yung pag-aaway ni Sydney at ni Melbourne. But, most of the infrastructures and amenities and facilities can be found in these cities, Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane. And their official language is English. Almost everybody in the country can speak English. However, they have 300 languages. And this country is the country in the world that only have 300 languages. Kasi nga, as mentioned, paulit-ulit tayo class, people are coming from different parts of the world. Okay? Next, cultures and traditions. So, ano ba yung kultura at tradisyon ng mga nakatira or naninirahan sa Australia? Okay, so first is mahilig sila sa Dreamtime stories. Are you familiar with the Dreamtime stories, class? Have you guys experienced that when you were young? Your parents are reading stories to you, 'di ba? So have you guys encountered that? So ang katumbas nito sa atin is bedtime stories. But yung sa atin is yung mga parables or yung mga kwento about animals. Okay? Sa Australian class, yung dream time stories is set of ideas siya na ine-explain paano ba nabuo yung mundo. Okay? Paano ba siya nagsimula? Ano yung relationship ng lupa, ng tao, ng spirits? So, yun yung Dreamtime story sa kanila. So, other term for Dreamtime is also known as Jukurpa or song lines. Minsan kasi, pakwento siya or pabasa ginagawa. Pero sometimes, true songs din siya. Pero yung lyrics ng songs or yung meaning ng songs is about how the world created. Okay? So, another information about this is, aside from the story about world, about land, kinukwento rin dito paano na buo yung river, bakit may full moon, yung mga out of this world questions. Okay? And ano ba yung purpose ng Dreamtime stories. Parang sa atin, when we were young, our parents are reading stories to us bago hanggang sa makatulog tayo. Ganon din yung Dreamtime stories. Meron siyang parang morals at the end of the story. So, to share informations, to teach lessons, okay, to give or to explain yung mga iba't ibang paniniwala. Okay, so that's what we call Dreamtime story. So, mahilig yung mga Australians sa Dreamtime stories. Next, dot paintings. So, dot paintings class is a symbolic patterns in Aboriginal art. Most of the arts na makikita nyo in Australia ay puro dot or it starts with the dot. Okay? Ano ba yung sinisimbolo ng dot? So, for them, lagi siyang may mga shimmer or they use glitters para kuminang siya. And yung dots class suggests energy or powerful aura. It depends kung paano mo siya ginawa. And other term for dot paintings, pakitandaan, is pointillism. Why do you think so it is called as pointillism, class? From the explanation. Why is it being called as pointillism? Nandito na yung sagot, class. Anyone? Yes, siya. Correct, class. Pointillism is because of that. So, before you create a certain image or a certain shapes or a certain creations, okay, you will start with one dot. That's why it is being called as pointillism. Please remember as well, class, that dot paintings is a form of expression. Therapy siya sa mga Australian. Ginawa siya or nakasanayan siya ng mga Australian kasi nakakatulong ito to help people deal with their feelings and thoughts, especially those people who are having a wide range of emotional and mental encounters. So, yung may mga anxiety, may panic attacks, or nag-hyperventilate, basta if they are experiencing a wide and varied range of emotions, they are trying to do dot paintings and it relieve or it gives them a relief of their emotions. Okay, so next is dances. So mahilig ang mga Australian sa sayaw. Okay? So these are some of the example of later on I'm going to show you. So Australian people are fond of different dancing moves. And this dancing is hindi lang basta-basta sayaw. Through their dance, they expresses yung pinagdaanan ng history nila, yung mga dreamtime stories, okay? They are dancing to show paano ba nagawa yung earth, paano ba nagawa yung river, or paano ba nagkakaroon ng full moon. It express those dreamtime stories to dances. Okay? Here's the video. You can watch this video. Wait lang, ayaw mag-play. Okay, so that's the sample of dances or dancing of Australian, what did you notice? Why they are chanting? Why they are shouting? Why do you think so? Anyone? Olis. Very good. Thank you very much for listening for the discussion. So correct class, they are chanting. Okay, yung sinisigaw nila or yung binibigkas nila, those are dreamtime stories. Depende doon sa um, topic. So kung yung topic nila is they are praising gods of rain, then kung ano yung chinachant nila or sinisigaw nila, that's the meaning of their dances. Okay? So next, sports. So mahilig din sa sports ang mga Australian since they are um ang tawag dito, near na or napapalibutan sila ng tubig. So most of their sports are under surfing. Okay? And baliw na baliw din sila sa rugby. Class, hindi yung rugby sinisinghot ha. Yung rugby na game. Okay? So, wait lang ha, mag-a-admit lang ako ng student. Okay, so yung rugby na game, they are very fond of this game because this game is more on physical aspects, strength of the body. Okay, next. When it comes to their cuisine, so very diverse din yung cuisines nila. So na-influence sila ng mga European, Asian, and indigenous influences. But mahilig sila sa meat pies. Itong may binibilugan kong color red. So sa atin parang empanada ito. Tapos Vegemite, mahilig sila dun sa itong Vegemite is para siyang mga what we call this jams. Okay? Mahilig sila sa mga bread and then they put different variants of jams like blueberry, strawberry, peach, mango, so on and so forth. And barbecued dishes. Mahilig sila sa mga ihaw na pagkain. Okay, so these are the cuisines of Australian people. Now, let's proceed to the 5 A's of tourism. Okay, so first is their, what do you call this? I'm losing my word. Accessibility. Okay, in order for you to go to Australia, so meron sila their flag carrier, the Qantas Airway Limited. So, it is the largest Australia's domestic and international airline. So, nag-ooperate siya sa different region, domestic and international services. And yung acronym niya talaga ay galing sa original name niya, class na Queensland and Northern Territory Aerial Services. Kaso sobrang mahaba kaya ginawang acronym, naging Qantas or Qantas. Okay? So originally, ang sineserve niya lang is Queensland and Northern Territory. But nowadays, it serves to different part of the regions. And please remember as well that Qantas is the world's third oldest airline. So, na-built pa siya noong 1920. At November 1920 to be exact. So, ito yung oldest airline na can speak English, okay, worldwide, especially their crew and their employees. Next, the different attractions that you can be found in Australia. Okay, so first we have the Sydney Opera House. Okay, are you familiar with Sydney Opera House? Have you been there? Have you been to Sydney Opera House, class? None. So anyone who can give me his or her comment. Every time you see this picture or when you see the photo of Sydney Opera House, ano yung na notice ninyo? Anything on the picture? I want another hands. I am just calling the same names, class. How about the others? Jana. Very good. Good point, class. So, Sydney, thank you, Jana. So, Sydney Opera House, class, is one of the um, famous architecture in the world. Okay, so when you visit the Sydney Opera House in the future, when you become flight attendant, a cabin crew, working in a cruise line, working here in Australia, and when you visit Sydney Opera House, you will only say wow with its architecture. So just to give you a background of Sydney Opera House, class, originally, class, ang budget lang dito ay $7 million. Imagine. But nung natapos siya, umabot ng $102 million. And ang mostly saan kinuha yung pinambayad, binayaran siya ng state lottery. Maraming yung mga kinita sa loto or yung mga nag-avail ng services ng loto. So yung mga kinita noon, dito siya napunta sa Sydney Opera House. Another fact about Sydney Opera House, class, is bago siya nagawa ng blueprint, nagpa-contest yung organizer or yung contractor nito. And you know what? 200 out of 233 designs na sinubmit para sa pagpapagawa ng Opera House, ang napili ay yung kay Jorn Utzon, na galing siyang Denmark. And nanalo siya ng €5,000 para sa design na to. So technically, ang designer ng Sydney Opera House ay si Jorn Utzon. Pakitandaan, it's Jorn. Utzon. Okay, Jorn Utzon from Denmark. And he won €5,000. Okay? And yung construction nito, class, ang target lang ay 4 years. But inabot siya ng 14 years bago siya matapos. And there are a total of 10,000 construction workers ang nagtulong-tulong para magawa yung Sydney Opera House. And every year, there are a total of 10.9 million tourists ang bumibisita sa Opera House. There are a lot of world-class concerts, events happened in Sydney Opera House. Now, allow me to tour you inside the Opera House, class. Please watch this video.
Located in Sydney, Australia, on the eastern coast of the country, this iconic building is set on the shores of Sydney Harbour, surrounded by the city's bustling central business district and facing out towards the harbour and its many landmarks, including the Sydney Harbour Bridge. The Sydney Opera House is an architectural masterpiece and one of the most recognizable structures in the world. Welcome back to the Travel Guide. In today's video, we will be highlighting the world-famous Sydney Opera House and everything it has to offer. The Opera House is a world-famous architectural masterpiece designed by Danish architect Jarn Utzon and completed in 1973. The Sydney Opera House has become one of the most iconic landmarks in the world and is one of the most recognizable buildings of the 20th century. The Opera House is a performing arts center that features a number of performance spaces including the concert hall, the opera theater, the drama theater, and the playhouse. These spaces host a wide range of performances including opera, ballet, theater, concerts, and talks. The Sydney Opera House is also home to a number of artistic organizations including the Sydney Symphony Orchestra, the Australian Ballet, and the Sydney Theatre Company. The building's unique design features a series of shells made of concrete that form the roof, creating a distinctive and eye-catching shape. The shells are set on top of a massive concrete platform that houses the performance spaces and other facilities. The Sydney Opera House is surrounded by a large public space called the forecourt, which provides a
Okay? So allow me to stop there. So that is Sydney Opera House. Now let's travel to the next destination in Australia. One or another destinations in Australia that is that has been part na of their attraction is none other than the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, so Great Barrier Reef is the world's largest reef system class. So it is stretching over 2,300 kilometers along the coast of Queensland and Australia. And you know what? Sobrang tagal na ng Great Barrier Reef. It is about 500,000 years old. So imagine the species that can be found in this reef. And sa sobrang laki niya, class, when you go outside the Earth, nandun kayo sa outer space, visible pa rin siya. Later on, I'm going to tour you in Great Barrier Reef. And Great Barrier Reef, class, includes 900 islands. Sobrang dami. And some of them napupuntahan, but some of them hindi. Okay? So, allow me to tour you in the Great Barrier Reef.
From space, the east coast of Australia appears to be in the embrace of a giant opal. The largest living structure on Earth, the Great Barrier Reef, is a lacy, living wall spanning more than 2,000 kilometers of islands and submerged reefs between the Queensland coast and the western edge of the Pacific Ocean. Diving in, the opal seems to splinter into millions of pieces, whirlpools of small metallic blue fish, barracuda gliding like silver submarines, and occasionally a lone predatory shark. The Great Barrier Reef is like an underwater city whose buildings are alive with millions of small creatures whose lives are intimately and intricately connected. It is as diverse as a rainforest, a mosaic of more than 70 types of habitats.
So allow me to stop there. So that is Great Barrier Reef. And next attractions and destination in Australia is what we call the Uluru. Okay, so Uluru class, kung ang Great Barrier Reef ay mostly 500,000 years old, mas matagal yung Uluru class. It is over 500 million years old. Okay? Ma'am, pwede po bang mag-climb or umakyat dito sa Uluru? Ano ba yung Uluru class? Uluru is a rock formation. Okay? Dinatnan na lang siya dyan ng mga Anangu people. Yung mga Anangu people is inhabitant dito sa Australia na nangangalaga dito sa Uluru, which is the Red Rock Formation. So, pwede bang mag-climb sa Uluru? The answer is no. Okay? Hindi pwedeng mag-climb sa Uluru. All you need to do is take a photo, okay, sightseeing. But you are prohibited to climb Uluru kasi pinaniniwalaan ng mga Anangu people na ang Uluru ay buhay na Diyos. Okay? Or spirit. Siya ay living and breathing. And kaya bawal umakyat, ito ay sagrado. And para din sa respeto doon sa mga Anangu people. Okay? But, I'm going to tour you to Uluru. Okay? Sa pinakamalapit na kuha ng video. So, allow me to share this video to you. Alright, so allow me to stop there. So that's the photo and videos of the different destinations in Australia. There are a lot, class, but we only highlighted those top tourist destinations that you can visit sooner or later. So to proceed on our next topic, accommodation. So hindi kayo mauubusan ng accommodation or titirahan pag pumunta kayo ng Australia because Australia is part of the first world country, and there are a lot of luxury resort, boutique hotels, and budget hotels that you can avail when you visit the country. Next, activities. Ano ba yung mga activities na pwede nating gawin sa Australia? So these are those: wine tasting. Australian people loves wine. You can also do snorkeling in the Great Barrier Reef, but there are a certain place lang where you can do the snorkeling. Pwede rin kayong magkaroon ng experience when it comes to cultural tours to Aboriginal people. So as you can see sa picture, class, ito ay hindi kabastusan. This is part of their cultures and tradition. When you visit the Aboriginal people of Australia, women and men are vividly naked. And that's fine because that's part of their culture. Okay, so you can do cultural tours and emerge in their way of life. Okay, so those are some of the activities that you can do. Next, amenities. So as I mentioned, amenities in Australia, since first world country sila, maraming high technology or digital places. Wi-Fi is vividly available. Their hospitalization services, their medical services. There are a lot of restaurants, entertainment hubs. Name it, they have it, class. So amenities there are easily accessible, efficient, and effective. So that's the end of our discussion for Australia. So I hope you've learned something from this country. Now we will move on to the last destination that we will visit today, which is anyone who can guess from its background. Other hands? I want other hands. Others. Class, don't ask me your grade at the end of the midterm, ha? While you are not participating naman during our recitation, yet you want 100 on your grade. Dr. May. Good. So, New Zealand is our last destination for today. Capital of New Zealand is none other than we have Wellington. So, ano ba yung mga interesting facts rather about the capital of New Zealand, which is Wellington? The first one is Wellington is known as the Windy City. Malakas yung hangin or yung bugso ng hangin sa Wellington City. Why? Kasi siya ay nakaharap sa what you call this, Cook Street or yung dagat, open area. Ma'am, gaano kalakas yung hangin sa Wellington? Can you imagine yung gustiness or yung bugso ng hangin doon? It exceeds 150 kilometer per hour. That's how strong is the wind in Wellington. Okay? Next, Wellington is also known to its hidden network of tunnels beneath its streets. Okay? Sa mga ilalim ng lupa ng Wellington, merong mga tunnel na nakabaon or nakatago. Bukod sa tunnel, may tinatawag din tayong bunkers. Okay? Ma'am, saan po ginamit yung mga tunnel and bunkers ng Wellington? So, ginamit nila during the World War II. Okay? Para magtago at ilagay dito yung mga armas nila, mga pagkain, at saka yung mga military army during the World War era. So, naging storage siya during those era. That's why nowadays, yung mga bunker, nagsilbi na lang siyang, sorry, not lang, nagsilbi siyang attraction sa mga turista. Pag bumaba kayo dito sa tunnel, but if you are claustrophobic class, you better ask yourself first kasi talagang maliliit lang yung kanto niya or yung daanan niya. Parang konti yung hangin. You feel the suffocation. Pag pumunta kayo, parang sumisikip yung leeg ninyo or yung hininga nyo ay kumukulang. Kasi nga, mainit yung loob. Though may mga ginawa na naman silang fans and lights, pero iba yung feeling. And you can still feel the presence ng mga militar and army na namatay during the World War era dito sa bunker. Maihahalin tulad natin to saan? Dito sa Philippines, class. Yung tunnel or yung bunker. Which attraction in the Philippines? Other hands? I want other hands. Tating. Okay, good. Correct. Thank you very much, Tating. Yung fourth, I'm just going to correct the word, but thank you very much for sharing. Yung Fort Santiago. Okay? Doon sa may Intramuros. So, yun, merong mga tunnel doon, yung mga bunkers. So, ganun yung feeling niya, class. Pero ito, mas mahaba kasi long straight, the Wellington City. Next. Wellington is also known to be situated in the Pacific Ring of Fire. And alam naman natin, class, or just so you know, that if your country, if your location is malapit sa Pacific Ring of Fire, laging lumilindol or madalas may lindol. But Wellington is to be known as earthquake-proof city. Why? Yung mga buildings nila katulad nito, class, ay may spring sa ilalim ng lupa, malalaking spring. Na every time magsha-shake yung what do you call this? Class ano yan? Magsha-shake yung lupa, okay? Yung land is sumasabay yung mga spring sa ilalim. That's why nagsusway lang din yung buildings. That's why they are considered as an earthquake-proof city. Next, their tourism tagline, 100% pure New Zealand. Because New Zealand claimed that they doesn't have any pollution or endangered species problem. Okay, they claim that everything in their country is pure and natural. However, syempre, in reality, meron pa rin naman silang nape-face na problem and challenges. But they still claim na merong impression na pag sinabi natin New Zealand, very natural, mapapawaw ka. There are a lot of natural wonders. So that's why this is their tourism tagline, 100% pure New Zealand. Next, history of New Zealand, class. Ang unang tao or first European na naka-reach sa New Zealand ay si Abel Tasman. Ito yung nasa taas. Ito yung itsura ni Abel Tasman noong 1642. Pero mas nakilala ang New Zealand nung si Captain James Cook ay nakarating doon noong 18th century. Doon na sustain or nagkaroon ng pagkakakilanlan yung bansang New Zealand. Mas dinayo siya ng mga tao. Again, ang unang European na nakarating sa New Zealand ay si Abel Tasman. Pero ang nagpakilala sa mundo ng New Zealand ay si James Cook. Okay? Next, government of New Zealand, class. So sila ay katulad din natin na merong democracy and they are being led by their prime minister. So sino prime minister nila as of now? Si Dame Jacinda Kate Laurel Ardern. Okay, so ito yung picture niya. So nakilala si Kate bilang isang superwoman, especially nung pandemic. Kasi bilang babae, okay, as a woman, okay, tinayo niya yung bandera ng bansa niya sa face ng challenge. Okay, during the COVID-19 pandemic, even though kakapanganak niya pa lang. Okay, nakita dun sa isang press conference na nagbe-breastfeeding pa siya dun sa baby niya, but she is still attending the meeting on how to mitigate the problems provided by the COVID-19 pandemic. And mind you, class, New Zealand is the first country in the world who passed the law that allowing women for their right of suffrage or right to vote. So imagine how powerful the people who are leading the country. Okay, because way back before, wala namang boses or wala namang kakayahan ang mga babae na magbigay ng kanilang opinion or bumoto. All of the things that they can do is take good care of the family, clean the house, that's it. But nowadays, New Zealand stand firm on the rights of women in the society, which is yung isa nga doon is yung right of suffrage or right to vote. Next is the people living in New Zealand. So, konti lang yung population na naninirahan sa New Zealand. 5 million lang and very diverse pa siya. Okay, when we say diverse, there are different nationalities, okay, na nandito sa New Zealand. But merong isang inhabitant or isang indigenous people na naninirahan ng matagal na sa New Zealand. Yun yung tinatawag nating Maori. Okay? Yung mga indigenous people. Are you familiar with Moana, class? Okay, so yon. Si Moana is part of the Maori indigenous people. As you can see dito sa picture. So, mostly ganito yung mga look nila. They have tattoos, they are wearing this kind of clothing, so on and so forth. Culture and traditions of New Zealand. Maori tradition. So, ano ba yung mga traditions ng mga Maori? So, meron silang haka, yung tinatawag nating haka, yung war dance. Okay? So, kaya ganito yung mga facial expressions nila because it symbolize how they fought for their freedom way back before nung sinakop sila ng mga invaders. So, yung haka, nagre-represent yon kung paano nila nilabanan yung invaders way back before. And meron din sila yung wakairo or yung wood carving. Ito yung example. Hindi lang sa wood, pati sa mga tattoos nila makikita nyo yung wakairo. Okay? Para siyang mga inukit ng mga guhit, shapes, and dots. And they also have a songs which is yung wayata na lagi nilang kinakanta. Specifically kapag meron sila mga festivals, may mga weddings, meron silang mga gatherings. Now, I would like to show you how they perform the haka or their war dance. Please watch this video.
The Maori are an essential part to New Zealand's history and heritage, and today we are immersing ourselves in Maori culture by taking in a traditional hangi dinner and village experience. The Maori men are first sent out to give a peace offering. If the offering is picked up, it means the visiting tribe comes in peace. This is an incredibly traditional and important ceremony for the Maori.
Enjoy your journey through our world, the world of the Maori. Yeah.
This is beautiful. This is what a traditional Maori village in this area would have looked like. At every station you learn a different aspect of Maori culture.
I've watched your war dance performed by our warriors to psych oneself up physically, mentally, spiritually, and also emotionally before engaging into battle.
The poi is used by the woman to beat on the back and palm of the hand, over the shoulder and across the body to denote rhythm and sound like that of our natural life forces. Hey! Woohoo! Well done! Wow!
The purpose of this is it's a conditioning exercise. It's also a game.
I made it to the last round. This is head to head. You're going down, bud.
Okay, so my question is why do you think so ganun lagi yung facial expression nila when they are dancing or when they are chanting? Anyone? Bakit parang laging naninindak yung facial expressions ng mga Maori when they are doing their traditions? Bernadette. Very good. Very good. Thank you very much, Bernadette, for sharing your thoughts and insights. A very good explanation. Good thing that you are watching a lot of those things about different cultures and traditions. So I am amazed. So good, class. As mentioned by Bernadette, so si Haka nga kasi is warden siya, but that doesn't mean na nananakot siya. Yun ay welcoming aura nila that they are telling na you are welcome to our village, you are welcome to do our culture, you are welcome to be with us, and we are happy to be with you. As you can see kanina dun sa video, 'di ba, parang nagganon sila, nag-toss sila ng mukha nila. That's a show of respect to the culture of Maori people. And as mentioned by Bernadette, tama din yung sinabi niya, nagkaroon kasi ng conflict before yung Watangi or Waitangi, yung treaty ng kasunduan ng country ng New Zealand and nung Maori, na Maori should have a different sovereignty, okay, or pagkakakilanlan. So that's why they performed the Haka War to show to the people or to the government of New Zealand that they have their own identity na hindi pwedeng baguhin and kailangang i-preserve. Okay? So to move forward, thank you. Sports. So rugby din, class, ang national sport ng New Zealand. And baliw na baliw sila, dominant sa kanila yung rugby teams. Pero ang isa sa pinakakilalang rugby teams sa New Zealand is yung All Blacks. Ito yon, yung sa picture. Sila yung All Blacks. Okay, so yung built din nila, the faces, can you see it? So they are dancing haka every time that they are facing their opponent. Not para ang tawag doon, buyuin or lokohin, or parang 'di ba pag may labanan parang nagbubuyuan. But sila, they are welcoming their opponent for a friendly sports game. Okay? Next, sorry, I forgot to remove the Cuban. It's New Zealand culture and cuisine. So, mahilig sila sa hangi. Okay? Yun yung traditional Maori fish cook underground. So, in short, yung mga lamb, seafood, ito yon sa picture. Niluluto siya sa gawa sa bato, mainit na bato. Okay? So, ito ang favorite ng mga taga New Zealand. Mahilig sila sa lamb, sa seafood. And ito yung pavlova. Okay? So, pavlova is a kind of dessert. Kilala rin to sa Australia and sa New Zealand. Sa atin, parang ano siya, anong tawag dun, class? Anong tulad nitong pagkain sa atin ng pavlova? Yung may pancake, tapos nilalagyan ng, ng cream sa ibabaw. Meron nito sa, saan nga ba to? Sa SM Mega Mall, class, na may different, I forget the name. May different flavors. May Biscoff, may cookies and cream, so on and so forth. So, that's the texture of pavlova. And they also do festivals and holidays. Okay? So, yun nga yung as mentioned ni Bernadette kanina, yung Waitangi Day or yung Waitangi Festival every February 6. Ito yung para kilalanin or i-remember yung nangyaring treaty sa Waitangi way back before. And meron din silang New Year, yung tinatawag nilang Matariki. Okay? And let's proceed to the 5 A's of tourism. Accessibility ng New Zealand is the Air New Zealand. Ito yung flag carrier ng New Zealand. Nakabase siya sa Auckland, New Zealand. Okay? Ang motto nila is Manaki. meaning taking care further than any other airline. And Air New Zealand is also one of the airlines in the world that serves exceptional services when it comes to their staff and crews. Okay, kasi nga they are part of the first world country. That's why amenities and facilities are highly efficient and effective. Next, let's proceed to its different attractions. So ano ba yung mga attractions na pwede nating makita or mapuntahan? We have the Milford Sound. Okay? Actually, ang pangalan niya talaga, class, is Milford Fjord. Okay? However, as times goes by, Milford Sound na yung nalagay natin. So, ano ba yung fjord? Okay? Yung fjord, class, is ano siya, tubig tabang, tsaka tubig dagat, ilog, at tsaka dagat na nag-meet or nagsasama. Tapos, there are different sections of islands na lagusan ng tubig dagat at tubig ilog. So, as katulad nitong nakikita nyo sa picture, it is the Milford Sound. So, isa siyang rainforest. Okay? Napaliligiran ng tubig tabang at tubig alat. Even though, class, ito ang kaisa-isang Milford Fjord sa buong mundo na accessible by land. Yung iba kasi hindi siya accessible by land. Kailangan mong sumakay ng jet or ng helicopter in order for you to be in the fjord. But dito sa New Zealand, it can be accessible by the land. Also, Milford Sound, class, it is one of the wettest places on Earth. Bakit siya wettest places on Earth? Yung dami ng ulan na nare-receive ng Milford Sound or ng attraction na to ay sobrang dami. Imagine 6,813 millimeter of rain per year yung ulan dito. And sino dito may thalassophobia? Do you know what is thalassophobia, class? Anyone? What is thalassophobia? Other hands? Yes, Irene. Okay, what is thalassophobia? Correct. Very good. How did you know that you have thalassophobia? Nagpanic ka. Okay. Yeah, okay. So, thalassophobia, class, is very good. Cyrene, thank you. Pag sinabi nating thalassophobia, you have a fear of open and deep and dark water. Na parang pag nakikita mo yung tubig, hindi mo natatakot ka na ano kaya yung nandun sa ilalim nun? Or gaano kaya yun kalalim? Ay, hindi ko makita. Ayokong tumalon. So, there are people na merong thalassophobia. Now, if you have thalassophobia, I do not recommend you to visit Milford Sound. Why? Yung tubig dito ay dark, maitim. Okay, hindi siya madumi, class. Maitim lang yung tubig because of the deep water. And we do not know what's under the water. So when you ito yung nakita niyo sa picture, itong cruise. Pero kung gusto niyo kasing mas ma-encounter siya, mas maliit pang bangka dito na cruise din pero mas maliit. And the water is too deep and too dark. So, pag may thalassophobia ka, parang maaano ka na, ay, ayoko siyang puntahan. And, yung Ford na to, class, hindi siya nagawa na nandito na lang. Ito ay carve galing sa mga malalaking tipak ng yelo or glacier. Okay? So, since maraming ang ulan dyan, yan ay pinapalibutan ng yelo, lalo na kapag winter season. So, allow me to tour you inside the Milford Sound. Watch this video. Okay, so allow me to cut that. So that's Milford Son. So imagine the magnificent creation of our creator. Okay, but mind you class, please know that um hindi siya allowed mag-cruising during the winter season kasi nga napapalibutan siya ng malalaking tipak ng yero and glacier. As you can see dun sa video, pwede kayong lumapit dun sa mga waterfalls. Take a photos, have an interaction with the dolphins. However, during winter season, not allowed. Kasi yung glacier, gumuguho siya. And yung malalaking tipak ng yelo ay tumatapon siya dun sa tubig. So, it is dangerous for the tourists to visit during winter season. Okay, another magnificent creation of our creator is this attraction, the Rotorua Geothermal Pools rather. So, bakit ba siya tinawag na Rotorua Geothermal Pools? Yung Rotorua, isa siyang village or lugar doon sa New Zealand na sobrang daming geothermal pools. Pag sinabi nating geothermal pools class, ito yung mga may kumukulong tubig, mga what do you call this Tagalog? I forgot the word. But yung geothermal pools kasi nga 'di ba dahil Pacific Ring of Fire yung New Zealand kasama siya. So there are a lot, ayun, alam ko na. Hot springs. Okay? Ang daming hot spring diyan. As in kapag naglagay ka diyan ng itlog, hindi lang hindi siya luto agad. Yung crank or ang tawag dito, yung wala na lusaw sa sobrang init. Okay? But um class, there are certain location in Rotorua where you can enjoy the geothermal pools. Okay? Ma'am, pwede pong magligo? Ay, ma'am, pwede pong mag-soak dyan? Yes. Okay? Pero hindi dito sa picture na to ha, kasi malulusaw kayo dyan. Okay? Nagbubuga siya ng sulfur. Yung sulfur ay considered naman siya as safe and non-toxic. Remedy siya sa mga skin irritations, acne, arthritis, bodily aches, and pains. 'Di ba dito sa Philippines meron din tayong ganito especially sa Bicol or dun sa mga sa Sorsogon, sa mga place na maraming hot spring na pinaniniwalaan na kapag yung mud or yung mga tubig ay dumampi sa iyong balat is makakagaling siya ng iba't ibang skin illnesses. And ganun din yung purpose ng geothermal pool. So allow me to show you some of the activities that you can do in Rotorua using the geothermal pools. Ay ano muna, ipapakita ko muna sa inyo yung mga geothermal pools. Ay, cut mali. hindi. Ito siya, sorry. So, ito yung isa sa pinakakilala doon sa New Zealand, yung Polynesian Spa. Ito ay isang place doon sa Rotorua, okay, that you can visit to avail the services provided by Geothermal Hot Springs and Therapies. Class, again, hindi pwedeng basta, may nakanta kayong geothermal, tatalo na kayo doon or isasawsaw nyo na yung kamay nyo. Doesn't allowed. Okay, because that's dangerous. Geothermal is a lot full of electricity and current and super init niya. Super init niya. Okay? So, that's why you have to be mindful when you are doing the activity. And always watch the signages provided by the Tourist Information Center. Next. Next is the Mount Cook. Okay? Mount Cook, another term ng mga Maori doon is Aoraki. Ito ang pinakamataas na bundok sa New Zealand. Okay? So, Aoraki, kaya siya tinawag na Aoraki kasi ang meaning niya, cloud piercer. Why? Napapalibutan siya ng mga clouds and ng mga, ito, yung yellow. Yung tuktok niya ay puro yellow. Pero, class, pwedeng pwedeng mag-hiking, mag-trekking. Kasi along the way, may makikita kayong hotel na in-establish noong 1884. Yung tawag doon sa hotel is Hermitage Hotel. Okay? Yung Hermitage Hotel, kinikater niya yung mga nagte-trek at nag-hike, okay, bago makarating doon sa summit. So, imagine paano nagawa yung Hermitage Hotel doon sa gitna ng mountain na ito. And another interesting fact, si Sir Edmund Hillary, if hindi pa kayo familiar with Edmund Hillary, isa siya sa unang tao na nakaakyat sa tuktok ng Mount Everest. However, pinagpraktisan niya muna itong Mount Cook. Okay, dito na-develop yung climbing skills niya bago siya umakyat ng Mount Everest. Okay, allow me to tour you to Mount Cook.
Aoraki Mount Cook is the highest mountain in New Zealand, and it is the crown jewel of the Southern Alps, Ka Tiritiri o Te Moana. It has 3 peaks, and they are joined by a knife-edged summit ridge that is 2 kilometers long and has near vertical faces on either side. So it's a complex mountain with several huge faces divided by long ridges. It has been climbed by many different routes, but all of them are serious mountaineering challenges, with the danger of heavily crevassed glaciers, steep ice cliffs, and falling rocks and ice. Aoraki is made of rocks known as greywacke that were once laid down on the ocean floor off the coastline of the ancient supercontinent of Gondwana.
Okay, so allow me to pause the video. in order for you to understand anong itsura talaga in reality ng Mount Cook, one of the resemblance or yung katulad ng Mount Cook is if you have a Netflix account, try to search this movie, yung people, ano yun, snow, I forgot the name. Basta may snow na word. Snow built snowman. Basta snow. Hanapin nyo. Search nyo lang snow. Tapos may lalabas doon. Sila ay mga Ukrainian people na nakasakay sa eroplano tapos magta-travel sila tapos nag-crash yung plane nila in the middle of nowhere. Nakatulad ng Aoraki Mountain. And you will see that yung paghihirap nila, paano makasurvive. Okay? Anyone who is raising her hand? I saw it. May nagtaas ng kamay? Ayun. Yeah. Yes, yeah. Thank you very much. Yun, yung Society of the Snow, nanalo siya sa Oscar Award. So, yun yung isang pinakamalapit na resemblance ng Mount Cook or ng Aoraki. Yung mga sakay nung eroplano na yon or yung passenger na yon, class, is bumagsak or nag-crash yung eroplano and then survival mode talaga sila. Okay. So, ganun din yung pwedeng maranasan ng mga mountaineers and hikers while climbing the Mount Cook or the Aoraki, especially during the winter season kasi nga lumalagpak or bumabagsak yung mga glacier or yung mga tipak ng yelo. Okay? So, okay na ma'am, ang dami mo ng example. And last but not the least, class, is the Hobbiton. Are you familiar with Hobbiton, class, from the picture? Are you watching Lord of the Rings? Or did you watch Lord of the Rings? The different episode. Okay. So, Hobbiton is kuha siya or ginawa siya para sa movie or i-film yung Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies. Ito yon yung sa picture, class. So, matatagpuan ito sa New Zealand. So, ginawa talaga siya para sa filming ng Lord of the Rings. However, sa katagalan, since nag-boom yung Lord of the Rings and nakilala siya sa buong mundo, naging tourist attractions na din siya. And mine-maintain na din siya nowadays. And mind you, there are a total of 44 habit holes. Yung habit holes, ito yung mga maliliit na bahay. 44 yung total niyan. Some of them big, nakasya yung human size. Pero most of them, hindi. For graphics, animations purposes lang talaga. Okay, so let's go inside the Hobbiton.
Every Lord of the Rings fan knows that much of the movie was shot here in New Zealand, but did you know you can actually go visit one of the movie sets? Today, we're headed off to the Shire. Let's go.
So welcome to Hobbiton, guys. We're going to gather just around over here and talk about some interesting facts.
Here in Hobbiton, there are over 40 crafted hobbit holes. The details are fantastic, and just the scenery is outstanding. You don't even need to see the movie to enjoy how beautiful this little world is.
Oh hey, didn't see you there. Welcome to my crib.
It was an amazing experience because it was just so pretty and it makes me really want to watch the movies again.
Okay, so allow me to stop the video there. So that's Hobbiton class. Next is accommodation. So there are a lot of accommodations in New Zealand. But if you want to experience the Maori traditions, you can book their mares houses. Ang tawag dun sa mga bahay ng mga Maori ay mare. Okay? M-A-R-A-E. Ito yon. Okay? So ayan din. So these are some of the accommodations that you can do or avail in New Zealand. Next is activities that you can do in New Zealand. There are a lot in New Zealand. Since New Zealand is known as the adventure capital of the world, so you can do bungee jumping, skydiving, hiking. There are a lot of wine tasting, learning Maui tradition. So these are some of the example. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. And last but not the least, class, their amenities. As mentioned, class, New Zealand provides excellent infrastructure, including top-rated restaurants, shopping centers, healthcare provider services, and adventure tourism facilities. So, hindi kayo magwo-worry, class, when you visit New Zealand because there is a lot of high-end facilities and amenities that you can use, especially their Wi-Fi, super bilis. Okay? And meron din silang mga tinatawag na what do you call this? Van, ito, renting van that you can use, especially kung gusto mong mag-road trip within New Zealand Alpines. Okay? So you can use this as well. And that's the end of our discussion. Hold on. Can you guys open your cameras, please? Wait lang.